People that are watching right now that have never posted, if they post a remarkably good piece of content, that piece of content now has the ability to get more views than something I post, and I'm one of the most followed people on LinkedIn in the world.
How do you make content that's like stands out?
By you being your full self.
Gary Vaynerchuk, with 11 million Instagram followers, above 4 million on YouTube, and over 10 million on Twitter and TikTok combined.
Gary Vee is a social media mogul with a whopping net worth estimated $210 million. And this is Gary Vee's formula for digital dominance.
You know Gary Vee, right? The guy who seems to be everywhere on the internet at once. Podcasts, TikToks, YouTube shorts, business interviews. It's like he's cloned himself 100 times. But here's the thing, Gary isn't flooding the internet randomly. He's been studying social media longer than almost anyone. And he's built an actual system that still works today in 2025, when most people think growth isn't possible without buying ads. I'm going to walk you through Gary Vee's playbook, the way he actually grows online, what his team of 100+ people are testing every day,
which we have analyzed while watching our customers scale their audiences while using our platform.
And most importantly, how you and I can use it without a massive team or budget. By the end of this, you'll know exactly how to play the same game Gary is playing, and it's gonna make your social media growth feel a whole lot easier.
So the social media I grew up with was more like email marketing. Get as many people to follow you as possible, and a certain percentage of them saw every single post. Now, every single part of the reach of this individual post is based on the creative excellence of it.
Back in the day, let's say 2010, social media worked like emails. You built a list of followers, and then every post went out to a percentage of them. It didn't matter if the post was good or bad. You got reach because they followed you. That was the social graph. Now, totally different. Every single post is judged on its own by the algorithm. The system doesn't care if you've got 20 million followers or 20. It cares if this one post is good. If it is, it shows it to more people. If it's not, it dies right there. That's what Gary means by the interest graph. And here's what blew my mind. Gary said flat out that somebody who has never posted before could easily beat him on TikTok if their creative is stronger. Think about that for a second. Gary Vee with his entire team and brand can lose to a kid posting their first ever video because the algorithm rewards creativity quality, not legacy status. That's why Gary's team literally has people studying thumbnails, colors, fonts, opening words, down to the second, because every tiny detail influences how long someone watches, how they react, and how far that post spreads. And Gary pushes it even further. He says, organic social is the best creative testing tool in history. What he means is, you don't need boardrooms and focus groups anymore to figure out if something will work. You just post it. The audience tells you in real time. If it gets traction, you've got a winner. If it doesn't, you move on. So the new reality is simple. Creative creates the reach. Not ad spend, not followers, creative.
I am asking you desperately to produce 1 to 2 videos and pictures a day, brand new ones every day. And then when you post them on TikTok and YouTube Shorts, LinkedIn and Facebook, you slightly tweak those videos and pictures and the copy that supports it based on the platform you are on.
All right, I know what you're thinking. Gary, 1 or 2 posts a day? That's insane. But if you really listen to what he's saying, it's not as impossible as it sounds. Gary's not telling you to film 20 different things every week. He's saying, make one piece and then adapt it slightly for each platform. TikTok wants raw and real. Instagram wants a bit more polish. LinkedIn wants the professional angle. And Facebook is led more towards community-driven content. And here's the second part people always miss. Gary says, stop overthinking what you post. Share what you know. Share tips, tricks, things you've learned, even if they seem too basic for you. That free value is what builds trust. He did it back in his wine library TV days. He literally told people not to buy certain wines from his own store because they weren't good. Instead of hurting sales, it made people trust him more, and they bought more. So daily posting isn't being a content machine for the sake of it. It's about building a habit, showing up constantly, and proving your expertise by giving away what you know. Over time, that trust compounds way faster than one perfect post could ever.
That's exactly why VistaSocial has made tools required to publish content easily.
Let me tell you the only AI I'm worried about right now in marketing. It's the AI that is on the back of these algorithms that make the content find the right audience. When you get 2,000 views, you earned it, and you now run that video as an ad in a 10-mile radius of your office.
This is one of those Gary lines that flips traditional marketing on its head. For decades, brands spent piles of money guessing which ad would work. Focus groups, TV spots, big launches, and half the time they were wrong. Gary's saying, stop guessing. Let the platforms test your creative for free. Here's how it works. Post a piece of your content. If it performs way above your usual numbers, let's say your posts normally get a few hundred views and suddenly one pulls in a couple thousand. That's the algorithm telling you, hey, this one is good. That's your green light. Now, instead of throwing money at unproven creative, you put spend early behind the winners, and you don't reinvent the wheel. You take the exact organic post, the post that people already responded to, and you amplify it with ads. Gary even applies this locally. He'll take a piece of content that pops and run it as an ad in a tight radius around a store or community. It's hyper efficient because the message is already validated. And that's why Gary keeps saying that the algorithm is the best creative tool that we've ever had.
I said, go to eBay and buy a Jay Cutler signed jersey and send it to him with a note that says, thank you for shopping at Wine Library. They're like, the jersey's like $400. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Send it to him. And then 4 weeks go by and nothing happens. And I get a phone call. We just got a $6,000 order from Plano, Texas.
Here's the point Gary is making. The small personal touches are what people remember. Ads can get ignored, but when someone feels genuinely appreciated, they talk about it. The word of mouth spreads faster and hits harder than any campaign. And here's where it ties back to social media growth. Every platform today rewards content that sparks engagement. Likes, comments, shares. When you show kindness or go the extra mile for someone, they're far more likely to share that experience publicly. Maybe they post about the unexpected gift you sent them. Maybe they comment about your amazing customer service. These organic conversations boost your visibility, feed the algorithm positively, and attract new people who are curious about your brand.
We all talk about AI, and meanwhile, the most important AI in the world is sitting right here. It's the AI that runs these algos, and we completely are dismissing it.
Everybody's buzzing about ChatGPT, Midjourney, deepfakes, but the AI that actually controls your success right now, it's the one that runs feeds. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, these platforms are powered by algorithms so advanced, they decide in seconds whether your video lives or dies. Before a single human even sees your post, the AI scans it. Your opening hook, watch time, comments, shares, and that's what decides how far it goes. Ignore that and you're invisible.
That Google search is a dominant force in their business, and in 48, 50, 66 months, that behavior will be gone. Very hard to click a fucking Google ad when you don't even go to Google in the first place.
Now, this is a bold Gary prediction. Google search, the king of the internet for 2 decades, is fading. Why? Because people don't need to search the old way when AI assistants are giving them personalized answers in seconds. And he's not wrong. Just look at how many people already go to TikTok instead of Google for things like best restaurants near me or how do I fix this? So what does this mean for you and me? 2 big things. First, it means you can't cling to yesterday's platforms. If attention shifts from Google to TikTok to AI assistants, then you shift too. Gary's been preaching this for years. Follow attention, not tradition. That's why he was early to YouTube, early to Instagram, and loudest about TikTok when most people dismissed it.
First and foremost, I need everybody here to do 10 to 15 hours of homework on what I just talked about. How the hell are you gonna judge an outside agency or an employee if they're good at this if you have no fucking idea how this works?
Just like Google search went from free SEO to play ads, social will tighten too. The ones who experiment now, who put in the reps, are the ones who earn attention later. Doing it yourself first gives you control. It means your content won't just stall because an agency didn't get it. And by playing the end game, it dramatically increases your odds of hitting the algorithm jackpot. Every extra experiment is a new lottery ticket, and the more you test while it's still free, the faster your audience will start to grow. This is Gary's not-so-secret weapon, and yet almost everyone misunderstands it. They think Gary's team is just cranking out hundreds of random posts every day. You're wrong. They're repurposing smart. It starts with one pillar, a keynote, a podcast, a long vlog, something big enough to contain multiple ideas, and then his team slices it into micro content. For example, one keynote can become 30 TikTok clips, 10 Instagram graphics, 5 Twitter threads, 3 LinkedIn posts, and even a blog article. That's 50 plus pieces of content from one talk. And you don't need a huge team to do it. Even as a solo creator, you can start small. Film a podcast episode, chop 3 clips for a TikTok, turn one into a quote graphic, and write a LinkedIn post from it. Suddenly, you've got a week's worth of content from one recording session.
We are now in a new dawn where the individual piece of creative creates the reach. You may post something and it gets 5,000 views, and the next one gets 180,000, and the next one gets 19.
Okay, this is where most people lose their minds. They post one video that pops off with 100,000 views, then the next day they upload something and it completely fails. Suddenly you're thinking, what did I do wrong? Is my account broken? But Gary's saying this is the new normal. Every single post is its own test. The algorithm doesn't care about your last upload. It only cares about how this one performs. That's why your numbers bounce around so much. It's not failure, it's feedback. And here's the key shift. In the old world of advertising, success was about stability, consistent impressions, predictable clicks. In today's world, it's about volatility. You're throwing hooks in the water, and most won't catch. But every once in a while, you'll see that success. That one viral post drives more growth than 50 average ones combined. So instead of obsessing over the dip from yesterday, Gary's telling you to zoom out. Think in years, not days. Measure your archive, not your last post. If you stick with it for 6 months, a year, 3 years, you'll almost guarantee that at least a few of these posts will hit big. And when they do, they'll bring thousands of new eyeballs to everything that you've ever posted. Live social shopping is the next frontier for social media. Commentainment buying as entertainment. This one's big. Gary's looking at what's already happening in China and saying that's coming here. And he's talking about live shopping, where influencers or brands sell on live streams and people buy in real time. It's part shopping, part entertainment, which is why he calls it commercetainment. Think about how powerful this is. Instead of just scrolling past a product photo, you're watching someone demo it live, answer your questions, and maybe even throw a discount code if you buy it on the spot. It turns buying into an experience, and people are way more likely to purchase when they're engaged and entertained. Now, here's the kicker. Platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube are all building live shopping features right now, which means they're going to push that content hard in the algorithm. If you're early, you'll get a crazy reach advantage.
AI influencers will be indistinguishable from humans. Within 24 months, Gen Z and Gen Alpha won't be able to tell the difference.
This one sounds straight out of a sci-fi movie, but Gary's very serious. AI-generated influencers are already here. Characters who look, talk, and act real, but they really aren't. They don't need sleep. They don't get into scandals, and they can post 24/7. For brands, they're cheaper, safer, and completely controllable. So where does that leave us? Honestly, it's both a threat and an opportunity. On one hand, AI influencers could crowd out weaker human creators. On the other hand, it creates a hunger for authenticity. Real human voices, real stories, real connections are going to matter even more in a world full of perfect fakes. Paying attention to these shifts gives you a massive edge. If you start experimenting with live shopping or integrating AI into your workflow now, you'll be miles ahead of the crowd when it goes mainstream. If you lean into authenticity, you'll build the kind of loyal audience that no AI influencer can replace.
Big mistake so many brands in this portfolio are making is they're putting the same video on every platform because they view social as distribution, kind of like old media, versus understanding that we're in a place now where organic social is the starting point for all marketing.
This is one of Gary's biggest points, and honestly, it's where most people get it wrong. They make one video, slap it on 5 platforms, and wonder why it flops. But here's the thing, TikTok is not LinkedIn, and Instagram is not Facebook. Each of these platforms has its own culture, its own language. Think of it like showing up to different events. You wouldn't wear the exact same outfit to a job interview, a beach party, and a funeral, right? Same you, different context. That's exactly how content works. Gary's team takes this to the extreme. They literally study every detail: thumbnail, colors, the first few words of captions, even what kind of media format each platform is pushing at that moment. And they discovered wild stuffs like sometimes how images outperform videos, even when everyone assumes videos is king. But you only learn that by paying attention and testing obsessively. The content you make first has to work where people actually hang out. That's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn. If you treat these places like a dumping ground for generic ads, you're most likely going to be invisible. But if you treat them like living, breathing communities with their own vibe, you'll actually start to see wins. You have two choices in my opinion. Gary's saying you've got to pick a lane. Either go all in, really caring about people in ways that don't scale, or go all in on content volume and distribution. But don't half commit to both, because that's where people get stuck. Think about what we've just walked through: the algorithm shift, daily posting, platform native content, pillar strategy, creative testing, gratitude, AI, future predictions. All of it ties back to one core idea: attention, where it is, how to earn it, and how to keep it. If you're still stressing about followers or waiting until you have the perfect setup, you're already behind. Gary's showing us that the game is winnable right now, but only if you're willing to put in the reps, learn how the platforms actually work, and play for the long term. So here's your action plan. For the next month, don't overthink it. Just document what you're already doing and post daily. For the next 3 months, study your own analytics like a scientist. What's hitting, what's flopping, and adjust fast. By 6 months, you'll not only have content that performs, you'll have the skills to actually judge and scale. And here's the real secret: you don't need to do it perfectly. You just need to do it consistently. Because one post can change everything. One TikTok, one short, one reel can bring more growth than an entire year of random, half-hearted posts. Now, I know this probably feels like a lot to juggle: posting every day, adapting to every platform, studying analytics, staying ahead of the AI shifts. It can really sound overwhelming, but here's the truth. The people who push through that discomfort, who keep testing and documenting instead of stalling, are the ones who win. Because while everyone is still complaining about reach, you'll already be building momentum that grows over time. And if you're thinking, this sounds amazing, but how do I actually manage all of it without burning out? Don't worry. In the description, I've linked a tool that makes running Gary's exact playbook way easier. Think of it as your shortcut to organizing posts, testing content, and staying consistent without losing your sanity. So let me leave you with this. The attention is out there. The platforms are free. The algorithms are waiting to reward good creatives. The only thing left is you.